This video is recorded by CostStoreFixtures. In this video, we review the preparation of an estimate. This package is accurate, detailed, dynamic, and easily completed. The estimate provides the user with production control information. Each labor process is identified. The time to perform each process is listed. This application operates in the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. A Microsoft license is required to use their program. This program opens on the preview sheet. We will not review the preview sheet in this video. This sheet contains information derived from the estimating process. Two ways to switch between sheets are: first, along the bottom of the spreadsheet window are 5 Excel worksheet tabs. 3 of those sheets are used for the cost workup. First is the project dimensions sheet. This sheet is used only to enter the dimensions. Elevation pedestal sheet. This sheet is used only to locate cells on the project dimensions sheet. 3. The base S1 sheet. This sheet is used to do the cost workup. 4. Door S1 base sheet. This sheet is used to do the cost workup. 5. Shelf S1 base sheet. This sheet is used to do cost workup. Second, in column B are buttons that switch between sheets. Select project dimensions and select elevation pedestal. We will enter data on 4 of the 5 sheets. Data is not entered on the elevation pedestal sheet. We will review the project cost summary after the data has been entered. We will enter 2 types of data. First, dimensions on the project dimensions sheet. Second, prices on the 3 cost workup sheets. That includes the base, the door, and the shelf. All dimensions are entered on the project dimensions sheet. Looking at the project dimensions sheet instantly raises the question: how do I locate the cells in which to enter the dimensions? To assist the user, we switch to the elevation pedestal sheet. Macro buttons have been placed to schematically represent the pedestal. When a button is clicked, you are switched to the dimension cell on the project dimension sheet that corresponds to that item. In this video, we will enter the dimensions for the base, the kick, base glass top, base door opening, base door panel, and the shelf. We click the base button first. Then we are prompted to enter the first of 5 numbers. In all uses throughout this program, the dimensions are entered in this sequence: width, by depth, by height of the item, by height accumulated, by quantity. Depth in this program means the distance from front to back. Width is always relative to the front of the fixture. Front is always the customer's side. And when the item is furniture, the front is the user's side. We enter 16 for the width. We enter 16 for the depth in cell 2. We enter 41 for the item height in cell 3. We enter 46 for the accumulated height in cell 4. And we enter 1 as quantity in the 5th cell. The difference between the 46-inch accumulated height minus the 41-inch item height is 5 inches, which is the height of the kick. To find the next dimension cells, we switch to the elevation pedestal sheet. Locate and click on the kick button. On the project dimension sheet, we are prompted to enter the first dimension. Enter the width, 13 inches. The kick is recessed 1 1/2 inch on each side of the 4 sides for a total of 3 inches from front to back and 3 inches from side to side. 16 inches minus 3 inches equals 13 inches, which we enter in the second cell as the depth. Enter the item height, which is 5 inches, in the third cell. Enter the accumulated height, which is 5 inches, in the fourth cell, and enter the quantity 1 in the fifth cell. When both the item and accumulated heights of the kicks are compared to both base heights, the difference between the item height and the accumulated height demonstrates the difference of the accumulated height. Meaning that in the kick, the base and accumulated are the same. Moving upward, the base is 41 inches when added to the height of the kick is equal to the 46 inches accumulated in the base. In some situations, the accumulated height may not be greater than the height in the feature below it and may not be different to the item height. On the elevation pedestal sheet, locate and click the base glass top. On the project dimension sheet, enter the width, 16 inches, depth equals 16 inches, height, item height is 0.375 inches, and the accumulated height is 46.375, and the quantity is 1. On the elevation pedestal sheet, locate and click the base door opening lower. On the project dimension sheet, enter the width equals 14.5, the depth equals 0.75, item height is 39.5, accumulated height is 39.5, and quantity is 1. There is only one opening in the pedestal, therefore the item height and the accumulated height are the same. The position of doors, drawers, and shelves is relevant in this package. From the front, always start at the lower position and move upward, up 1, up 2, for example. Always start at the lower left position and move to the right, left, middle, right, for example. On the elevation pedestal sheet, locate and click the base door panel. On the project dimension sheet, enter width equals 14.5, depth is 0.75, item height is 39.5, accumulated height is 39.5, and the quantity is 1. There is only one door panel in the pedestal, therefore the item height and accumulated height are the same. On the elevation pedestal sheet, click on the base shelf lower button. On the project dimension sheet, enter. The width is 14.5 inches. The depth is 14.5 inches. The item height is 0.75 inches. The accumulated height is 0.75 inches. And the quantity is 4. All dimensions have now been entered. If your workbook is set to manually calculate, click the calculate icon in the status bar located at the bottom left of the window. Go to the top of the project dimension sheet. Turn on the auto filter by clicking the button. Then filter column V by deselecting criteria, X, and blanks. The rows that remain visible contain the project dimensions. The rows included are the base, the kick, the glass top, the door opening, the door panel, and the shelf. Review the numbers and correct any errors. Or if you want to, you can change the dimensions now. Make a correction or change in the cell with the green character. Entries are never made in cells with red characters. The overall dimensions are not used in this cost calculation. Let us look at material prices. Until a price is entered on a cost workup sheet, all items on all cost workup sheets are excluded from the calculation. If you incorrectly enter prices on a cost workup sheet, errors will occur and may be displayed on the workup sheet and the project cost summary sheet. The cost workup sheets are a uniform layout design. The principles of the design are covered on the instruction sheet. When you complete the example on the instruction sheet, you will have an excellent understanding of the principles. The shelf S1 base lower cost workup sheet is the shortest. Because of time constraints, we enter the prices on that sheet. To minimize the amount of time searching for the item rows that have to be priced, first turn on the auto filter and filter column I. Uncheck the filter box for blanks. The filter capability used in column I can be used in column C through H for alternatives for this project or for other projects in the future. The filters minimize the time necessary to identify and enter prices for components that have similar characteristics. The shelf material prices are melamine substrate, $38, shelf clips, 25 cents, shelf standard, 85 cents per inch, and the plastic laminate is $1.15 per square foot. The cost of material is the total of the direct material plus the freight allowance plus the scrap allowance. The direct cost of the melamine is $6.94. Add the allowance for freight in at 45 cents. Add the allowance for scrap at 24 cents. The melamine total cost is $7.63. The freight and scrap allowances are applied uniformly to all materials. The allowances are adjusted on the tables, definitions, and abbreviations sheet. To get to the allowances, click the buttons in row 22 at the top of column V for the freight allowance or column W for the scrap allowance. The value can be 0 for both of these allowances. Labor is charged at the shop rate of $18.42.9 per hour. The labor and overhead rates can be adjusted on the tables, definitions, and abbreviations sheet at any time. To get to the labor and overhead rates tables, click the button in row 21, column UVW. There are 3 itemized cutting processes. First are the 4 melamine pieces at 3 minutes per piece equals 12 minutes. Second are the 4 standards at 1.25 minutes per piece equals 5 minutes. Third are the 16 laminate strips at 1.25 minutes per piece equals 20 minutes. There is one itemized dado process. Included are the 4 inset shelf standards at 7.75 minutes per foot times 13.667 feet equals 10.25 minutes. There is one itemized laminating process, which includes the 16 laminate strips at 2¼ minutes per strip equals 36 minutes. There are 3 mounting processes. First, the 4 shelves at 4½ minutes per shelf for a total of 18 minutes. Second, the 16 support clips at 0.375 minutes per clip for a total of 6 minutes. Third, the 4 standards at 6 minutes per standard. Equals 24 minutes. That completes the entry of materials and labor processes for the shelves. Let us review the cost. First, we look at materials. The direct materials cost is in column U. The direct material is the value of the actual material used in the fabrication process. The freight allowance in column V is a percentage calculated by dividing the total freight in charges paid over a period of time, such as a month or year, by the total inventory materials purchased during the same period. If you include the freight in the cost of direct material, the allowance rate would be 0. The scrap allowance in column W is a percentage calculated by dividing the estimated unused portion of materials that are discarded during the fabrication process. It is determined by evaluating the materials discarded for specific projects. This is very subjective. You do not have to use either the freight in or the scrap allowance. Some material amounts may seem minor, such as the plastic laminate, which have a material cost of $2.04. The reason even these low values are important is the effect they have on the fabrication time. Combined, these laminate strips add 48 minutes of fabrication time. Too few or too small are not appropriate criteria for this application. Of course, there are exceptions. The exceptions primarily include pins, edge glue, nails, and staples. Those materials should be included in overhead. Second, we look at labor. Direct labor in column U are in the rows following the materials. This is the value of the actual time used in the fabrication process. The overhead 1 allowance in column V is a percentage calculated by dividing the total overhead cost over a period of time, such as a month or year, by the total hours paid to the shop fabrication crew. The overhead 2 allowance in column W is a fixed amount. A user may decide to classify certain expenses as fixed and allocate those expenses at a fixed rate per labor hour or per piece. If you decide if you will use one or both allowances. At the bottom of table 1 are the totals. To fabricate 4 shelves, the direct material is $24.42. Total freight in is $1.59. Total scrap allowance is 85 cents. For total material is $26.86. Total direct labor is $40.31. Total overhead is $34.28. Overhead 2 is $14. Total labor is $88.59. Total cost to fabricate the shelves is $115.45. There are 131.25 minutes of labor to fabricate the shelves, which is equal to 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 15 seconds. Any item can be checked or changed at any time simply by applying the auto filter on the appropriate cost workup sheet. The project cost summary sheet is the last sheet we look at. The information from all the cost workup sheets is organized on this sheet. Just as we use the auto filter on the cost workup sheets, we apply the auto filter to Table 1 on the project cost summary sheet. The issue of markups was not discussed on the cost workup sheet. That is because the cost workup sheets are to develop the cost. Markups are set on the table's definition and abbreviation sheet. They can be changed at any time. There are 3 tables on the project cost summary sheet. The first table covers the materials, labor, and markup. Focus is on the entire fixture, not on one item. The difference between the entire fixture and one item is explained by an example. What if the pedestal was twice as wide and there were 2 identical sets of 4 shelves? The choice would be to prepare another shelf cost workup sheet or multiply the first set of shelves by 2. On the project cost summary sheet, column U, titled Quantity of Items or Components Duplicated on the Fixture, is used to make the selection. Enter the quantity 2 in cell U195. Before calculating the total cost in cell U202 is $646.15. Manually calculate. The total cost in cell N202 is now increased to $761.61 from the $646.16, an increase of $115.45, which is the cost of one item of shelves listed in cell X195 on the project cost summary sheet, and it equals the total on the shelf S1 base cost workup sheet in cell X1035. For this example, one item or the entire fixture is the same cost. Table 1 includes the price per section. The topic of sections is not discussed in this review. That subject is covered in the example. Table 1 aggregates worksheet information including price per section, number of worksheets, material pieces used, material rows entered, labor processes entered. Table 2 aggregates the calculation and summary by worksheet of the cost of materials, and labor per foot, and labor time per foot. Table 3 aggregates the calculation and summary by worksheet of the direct materials, freight allowance, and scrap allowance, and direct labor, overhead 1 and overhead 2. This package generates an accurate estimate. The result of this estimating process is a detailed production plan If you want to reduce and improve control of your costs, this package provides the information, organization, and discipline to do so. It covers all the processes you identify and the labor time to complete those processes. It is easy to use. This package provides immediate direct control over all details of the cost workup, and the result is improved fabrication control. Your project is broken down into simple steps that you design and then use to measure fabrication performance. Immediate analysis of daily production time can be compared to scheduled times. This package functions as a continuous what-if analysis tool. It can be used before, during, or after the project is complete. Available are all the features of Excel. It is easy to print reports such as shop production time, by process, by component, part, or piece. This video provides a basic explanation of the package. Download the example to see how easy it is to use. Send an email to CostStoreFixtures@outlook.com. That's CostStoreFixtures@outlook.com. Thank you very much. Hope to hear from you.